The award for the design of the St. Louis Arch accidentally got sent to the designer's father, who was also a famous designer. The arch is 630 feet tall and 630 feet wide, and those two numbers are not a coincidence. Saarinen designed it so the height and the span between the outer legs are exactly equal. It weighs 17,246 tons, sits on a foundation 60 feet down into the ground, and if you need a sense of the scale, it's approximately 63 Komodo dragons laid end to end. If you stack them that way, they wouldn't much like it. The shape looks like a parabola, but it isn't. It's a catenary. That's the curve you get when you hang a chain upside down from 2 points. A parabola is a mathematical formula that gives you an even shape on a graph. A catenary is what a chain actually does under its own weight. I can't tell you how many times in my life the word parabola has just popped into my head as a defining shape. There was a guy in a video explaining the difference, and he was dead serious about it. I was like, okay, buddy, let's get you some crackers and go watch Wapner. They built both legs simultaneously from the ground up with a tolerance of 1/64 of an inch. When they got to the top piece, the sun had heated the steel enough that it wouldn't fit. So they hit the lower sections with a fire hose to cool them down, then used 500 tons of pressure to spread the legs apart and drop the final section in. The guy said it with a straight face. 500 tons of pressure to get those legs spread apart. Any 13-year-old could have given them a better way to say that. The designer was Eero Saarinen. Finnish name. Finnish like from Finland, not finish like he's done. When they sent the notification that he'd won the design competition, they accidentally sent it to his father, Eliel, who was also a famous architect and led the Cranbrook Institute. The family popped champagne. A few days later, somebody had to call and tell him the award was meant to go to his son. The father opened another bottle. He didn't complain, wasn't mad, wasn't upset. He was happy for his son. The design won because it didn't represent anything. No political angle, no intellectual statement, nothing. The other proposals included carving a plow shape into the landscape, a series of pylons, and a complex of buildings dedicated to Jefferson. Saarinen's entry was just a giant artistic monument, and the judges awarded it unanimously. There's a scene in one of the Percy Jackson books where Percy stands on top of the arch and dives into the water. The arch is about half a mile to a mile from the river, so that's not happening. When readers wrote letters about it, the author just said he got it wrong. He thought it was closer to the water and never considered how far away it actually is. Most authors in that spot come up with reasons why it's still plausible. This guy said, nope, I made a mistake. That's pretty good. The arch gets 2.6 million visitors a year, and tram tickets run about $30 a ride. You can imagine what that adds up to before you count the museum, the hotels, the food, and everything else that goes around it. The whole compound sits on 91 acres with an underground museum, so the view from the top stays clear. On a clear day from up there, you can see about 31 miles. The thing is also designed to sway 18 inches so it doesn't get brittle in the wind. It takes 50 miles an hour to move the top an inch and a half off center. St. Louis gets tornadic winds, and so far it's held up fine. Imagine being a kid driving past this thing and saying, that looks like a parabola.